Hello world of Minecraft, this is Munsters here, and today I'm going to be spotlighting a new mod for you all called Field Guide. The mod is by Evan Bones and Cobber. It's new and it's a pretty awesome mod that lets you sort of go around, discover new mobs and plants and so forth, and you collect them in a guidebook, which is kind of like a bestiary. So let's just check it out. Alright, so Field Guide. The way you get started with this mod, it's pretty simple. You just open up your inventory screen, and next to your default recipes book, you're going to see this brown volume. You click on that to open up your field guide. Now right away you're going to see that the guide is divided into categories by these tabs on the left. Here you have plants, here you have animals, monsters, bosses. So when you open up a category, plants for example, you have this counter, 0 out of 99, discovered, your recent discoveries page, and you can click over here to flip through the book and see all the possible, plants you can discover out in the world. Right now you don't have any information on any of them because we gotta go find some. So let's do that. Now the only thing you really need for this mod is a spyglass. So once you have yourself 2 copper ingots and an amethyst shard, you can craft yourself a spyglass and you can use it to start scanning plants, mobs, etc. to add them to the guidebook. So I see some cows out there in the distance. I'm gonna zoom in and you'll see that there's a little scanning animation and you get a tooltip up there on the top saying you've discovered a cow. Great. What else can I discover? There's some grass over here. Can do that. I see some flowers in the distance. Oxeye daisy discovered. Great. How about some trees? An oak tree. Okay. Perfect. So I think we've got enough to just demonstrate here. Now I can open up the guidebook also by hitting the B key. Of course, you can change that to whatever you'd like. And here we go. We're going to go under plants. So far we've discovered 3 out of 99. These are our recent discoveries, and like I've shown before, you can see them also as you flip through the book. And you've got this handy little exclamation point here as an indicator to what you've already looked at. So if I look at the Oxeye daisy, for example, and I go back, I can hit this green tab. That indicator goes away. So what do you see when you open up an item in your book? You get a title, what it is, right? The day that you found it, the time of day, a brief default description, which you can change. You just click in here and you can go ahead and type away. Not too uncommon of a flower. And you can add your own notes, etc. And I think you can also change the default notes in the config if you'd like, but we'll get to some configuration options in a bit. Another thing to notice is that when you open up certain mob entries, you're going to see some additional information. Here in the upper right hand corner, you're going to get a little icon that tells you if it's passive, neutral, or hostile. You'll get the health counter. You're going to get your byproducts from whatever the mob is. So in this case, we have leather, we have beef, and then you're going to see all the biomes that you can find this mob in. So the cow obviously is pretty common. We can find it in almost any biome. But another cool thing you can do is if you want to also see what other mobs drop leather, for example, I can click the leather there and you'll be brought to this handy page that tells you, hey, these are all the mobs that drop this item. Obviously, we only know of one right now, which is the cow, because we're pretty new in our journey here with scanning. Similarly with biomes, I can click on a biome and see what mobs are in the biome. And I think also what plants. I just have to go under plants, I guess. I guess plants don't come with biomes, actually. It's just the mobs. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So if I go to an oak tree, though, you can see the drops there too. So if I want to look for apples, I guess, it'll tell me which trees drop apples. That's pretty cool. Another thing you can do is search. So if I want to search for the cow, cow, there it is. It just comes up in your search, and that's pretty cool. Another thing to be aware of is as you scan new entities, you get some XP, which is pretty cool. You can also open up the book by pausing the game, and then you'll see the book icon right there. It is worth noting that any way you open up the book, the game does pause, which is great because you don't want to have to worry about creepers sneaking up behind you or anything like that while you're checking out your field guide. So that's a pretty nice bonus as well. It's also worth noting that this mod plays well with other mods. So I've got Farmer's Delight loaded up, and I see some crops over there from Farmer's Delight. Now I can go ahead and scan those as well. Wild onion. And you'll see that does come up in the guide. It doesn't have any default notes, but again, I think you can add your own notes as that's a configuration option. All right, so there are a couple config options that I want to demonstrate real quick. As you saw earlier, when you scan something, you get some experience. I've gone ahead and disabled that in the config. So now whenever I scan something, let's say I snag this golem over here, you'll see that the experience gain is not being applied. Nice. Another configuration option you have to play with is that if you want to increase or decrease the distance from something you need to be in order to discover it, you can do that. And additionally, you can also remove the requirement to even need a spyglass. So let's just chuck that into the ocean. And now I've got some Farmer's Delights crops right over here, and I should be close enough. I do indeed discover them. When I am too far away, I should get a little notification that says so. So like that blue flower, I don't know that yet, it's not in my book, but I'm not close enough. And there we go. And you get that same notification with the spyglass as well if you're too far away. The default distance I think is 64 blocks with the spyglass, and I think that's a good balance, but if you want to remove the spyglass requirement entirely, decreasing the scanning distance is going to provide a better experience. This mod offers a bunch of other configurable options that you can play with. For example, you can run a command every time you discover something. I can imagine map makers getting pretty creative with that in their adventure mapping. You can also change the speed at which something scans. In addition to disabling XP, you can increase or decrease the amount of experience gained whenever you discover something. There's a lot more in the config. You should definitely check it out. This mod pack is pretty flexible and it really lets you fine-tune it the way you want. Well, that just about wraps it up for this mod spotlight of Field Guide. I'll go ahead and leave some links down in the description for where you can go to grab this mod for yourself. And I hope you all found this video useful. If so, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.